All right, guys. So I don't know what happened earlier today, but I'm going to share this lesson with you that I went over with the rest of the class. So it's all about literary themes and creating a universal theme. So the first thing I'm going to show you is actually just a sample, an example, and then I'm going to show you the exercise that's going to be due next Tuesday. So the first part, this is all about understanding literary theme. And as you can see on the screen, it says when you're asked to come up with a literary theme, you want to think of making a statement, in other words, a full sentence that expresses a universal lesson or idea. You don't want to use just one word or phrase like friendship because that's an idea, but it's not really a universal theme. A universal theme, taking that idea of friendship, would be more like saying, time changes friendship, but a true friend will remain one over time. Or using a different example, you could say something, maybe you've heard the phrase, time heals all wounds. It's a universal lesson or theme that even though we might hurt about something at the moment, we will, through time, eventually heal and recover from that. It's usually talking about how that phrase is usually talking about emotional wounds, not necessarily physical wounds. Um, but there are many ideas. So you don't want to say a theme is just like friendship or love, or maybe a universal theme for love might be the idea that love comes in many different forms and can change and grow. That might be the universal lesson or theme. So here's another, we want to come up with a theme statement for this. There were once three little pigs. The first little pig decided to build a house out of straw. The second little pig built his house out of sticks. The third built his house out of bricks. And then there was that nasty wolf who wanted a pork dinner. Well, you know what that windy wolf did, and the outcome of two pork dinners before his plan for a third failed. So it's asking us to come up with a theme statement for the three little pigs. So a theme statement for the three little pigs might be something like it's important to always plan ahead, or um, never never take the easy way out, because the third little pig built the brick house and that's what saved them all. He took the time and put in the effort. So you could write a theme, something like that. Okay, so you get the idea. It needs to be a full sentence. So here's what your exercise is going to be. I'm going to share this tab instead now. And I'm going to open up the exercise. All right, so it's for To Kill a Mockingbird. And there are a few parts to this exercise. It's actually a small project on theme. And this is over chapters 1 through 14. It says, listed below are some themes that appear in To Kill a Mockingbird. And what you're going to do is find an example of each theme as found in the chapters that are listed. So you've got four themes, and each one has a chapter listed beside it. It's all, each of this part is worth 10 points. So you're going to summarize the example and list the page number, it says. So the first one is distrust of those who are different. Now, the class and I discussed that already today. And the example they came up with of somebody who was different is Boo Radley. And there's a distrust of him. So you could talk about how in chapter 1, Boo Radley was mistrusted by the kids. There were stories about him that were scary, and they thought that he was frightening because he was different and didn't come out and people didn't see him very often. And so you could write that and write the page number down. The next one is pride in ancestry and tradition, found in chapter 13. I would look at Aunt Alexandra and what she and Atticus might talk about, or maybe what Scout says about their family and how they all look at their ancestors. Then evidence of different levels of society, also in chapter 13. And then racial intolerance, and that's any chapter you've read so far. Find an example of the racial intolerance. So once you've completed all of that, you need to choose one of the above examples and create a universal theme statement. Okay. Your universal theme statement that you chose from To Kill a Mockingbird. So turn one of them into a full sentence. And now you need to think about the other part of it, because the other side of what you're going to do with the one you chose is to support your theme statement with evidence from society or your own experience. Because, guys, remember, it's a universal theme. It's why Shakespeare's plays are still popular and relevant today, because the themes in them are universal. Romeo and Juliet, that you read as freshmen, it's about young love and how young love can be impatient and impetuous, and it's read over and over again. And so, there are other themes in Shakespeare. One of his plays is about Macbeth, and Macbeth, his whole idea is he wants to be in charge, he wants power, and he does anything he can to get it. And this is a play written over 400 years ago, and it's still relevant today because we know all kinds of examples of people who want to be in power and will do anything to achieve it. Or his play Hamlet, that was also written over 400 years ago. Hamlet is about a young man whose father dies, and then he discovers that his father may have actually been murdered. And there are two things going on there. He's grieving for the loss of his father, and he's out to avenge his father's death. And this is something that still drives people today. You see these ideas in stories over and over again, these lessons. So that's what I want you to do, is to take one of these themes from up above, and you're going to apply it to your life or to things you've seen in society. Okay? It says bring up not only a specific example, but explain how these details fit with the theme and describe the lesson that's being taught. So this whole assignment is worth 100 points. You've got 10 points for each of the four universal themes. You also have 10 points for writing your theme statement from it, from one of the examples, turning it into a full sentence. And then I'm sorry, this is worth 75 points. There are altogether. Then another 25 points for writing about your theme and coming up with a current example. Okay? The other thing we did in class today, we did read a little bit of chapter 15. You'll need to make sure you read that. We will take a quiz tomorrow over 14 and 15. And I am going to end this.